Hey, still sick here, but I'm gonna do a really quick video before I crash for the night. So, my BTC chart that I always use, as you guys probably remember, is the Bitfinex chart. It's filled with a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of work went into these charts, so it's very difficult to use to give you an overall outlook. So if I were to use this one, right, this Tether BTC chart, the Binance pair, is what I used on my other videos and streams that and images that I posted recently, trying to show you guys this correction here. I showed you some options this evening. So I wanted to use this chart to illustrate something else, just to give you an idea of overall what we're looking at, right? The sort of potential we have in front of us in the coming days, weeks, and months. Let's go back and look, right? So check this out. I have some tweets. This is funny. Let's see, where are they? We had the point where we started really getting into new plays after we got to the point where I felt that we were done with the correction. As you'll remember, I had called this correction really early, 2 to 3K, 3 to 4K rather. So if you look here, you'll see like this is this old tweet where I was talking about the 3 to 4K bottom, and then I said where I had said that it's time for us to get into trades. Now, for those who weren't in the group back then, you weren't here, but for those who were, we started trading and getting into trades, and that was right around December 10th, December 9th, December 10th. Let's take a quick look so I can actually show you what we're looking at, because what I want to illustrate for you is what we actually did and what we're going to be able to do moving forward, and why I'm so excited for the very near future. Now, we had December 10th, boom, it's right over here. Before I even look at it, I just know it's before we started pumping. So this was December 9th right here. We started coming down. That's when we got into a bunch of trades. Got stopped out on some, but more importantly, I'm not illustrating the exact moment we started moving up, but how when we were able to identify this point, I want to show you what happened following that. So a couple days later, we actually did start moving up. We got into a lot of great alt trades, and we rode this wave one up, and it was pretty masterful. I mean, we made a ton of money. A lot of members of the group did very well at that period. So this was that was wave one, right? So then we had this long retracement. That was wave two. And this is what I really want to show you guys. So we had a great wave one. We did very well in December, right? Then the new year comes, and we had plenty of opportunities where we could make money. I always talk about how I don't need a bullish market. I can make a lot of money in a bearish market as long as BTC and the market-wide stable coins, the market-wide indicators are stable. So looking at some of the larger caps, we had plenty of periods where we would have these individual runs that would last anywhere from a few days to like a couple weeks. So we had a lot of opportunities to make a ton of money. Again, we were getting in and out of these altcoin trades, doing very well. I opened up in the beginning of December some long-term trades on LTC, nulls. I got back into several of my other long-term picks, including Scroll and BTS. So although BTS I didn't really get back into again, I used to have a lot of it. So we had this run, and then we had this long, drawn-out drop. Now, you'll remember studying Elliott Wave. If you watched any of the Vader University videos talking about Elliott Wave, one of the principles I've mentioned is you tend to not repeat. So if you have an impulse, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I'm going to clear up this wave 5 and get that a little bit cleaner momentarily. But if you look at this sequence, you tend to have, it's going to be a short, sharp drop on wave 2, and then you'll have a long, drawn-out wave 3, or the other way around. You'll have a long, drawn-out wave 2, and then the second correction of this impulse is going to be a sharp drop. So you're not repeating yourself. It's more common to have something like this, a long, drawn-out wave 2 correction, and then a really fast, quick drop wave 4 correction. Essentially, the two corrections within this impulse are not the same. They tend to be different. Now, my analysis for this entire impulse so far has been impeccable. Even here, even though I've never done this chart before, I've always used the Bitfinex chart. Look at this. If I do a wave 1, look how perfect my call was for the 1618 extension. It's not going to be as perfect as the other one, but still pretty damn close, right? So there's the 1618 extension. That was my wave 3 target. I called 5302, which hit to within like a few, within like $40 or something on the Bitfinex chart. So that being said, this ends up completing. This was wave 5. This was our wave 3. So assume we had, right, there's the sub count. It was like that. So we had that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we completed our wave 3. So now if we have wave 3 completed, we obviously need to correct, and then we get to move on to wave 5, right? So this is since essentially I came back after the babies were born. We had wave 1, went on an absolute tear. We did very, very well in the group. We got into a ton of incredible trades. If you go back and look at short-term trades in the channel and the group, and you look at some of the money makers we had at this point, we had trades that went on for days in excess of 100% gains in a couple days, and then we would dump that and get into the next one for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80%. We were absolutely killing it. Now, we got the correction, and then we had a really strong wave 3. This wave 3 we've been riding for a couple months now, and we've been doing exceptionally well on it. We were able to trade and make money even during the correction on wave 2, but since wave 3 started, it's been essentially just relentless. February and March, just constantly huge money-making plays, and I was calling these things with such precision. We were getting in to within $1 or $2 of where the bottom was, and then moving up stop losses and locking in 30, 40, 50% on all these trades. It was incredible. So now that's come to an end, but that's not a bad thing, and I want to show you why. If you recall what I mentioned about one of the principles in LA Wave, is that if you have a wave 2 that's long and drawn out, you're going to have a shorter, quicker drop on wave 4. That's exactly what we're seeing here. So that's an additional confirmation that my model is just that accurate. So wave 4 is giving us a quick, sharp drop. I think we're going to get in and out of this pretty quick. I don't think it's going to last more than a couple days. It might be another day or two. And there might be some opportunities along the path here, but I wouldn't expect to do a lot of trading over the next week. I would say if you were to just think and prepare yourself psychologically, set aside a week. Imagine being, back here where we got into some trades and got stopped out, and this is when I first came back after the babies were born, when I really started getting into trades. Now, we had some great trades, but a lot of trades were getting stopped out because the market-wide sentiment, we were still correcting slightly. We hadn't completed bottoming out to my final bottom target at 32.80. We finally got down there, and then after that, we went on an absolute tear. So just imagine if you were getting upset at this point because you weren't getting into good trades and you were like, screw this, I'm not even going to trade. And you just took your money out of crypto and figured the market's dead and you're going to leave. Well, after that, we went into a massive impulse. That wave 1 constituted some incredible gains on our all trades. And same thing now. So don't feel disparaged. I mean, we're in a wave 4 correction right now, but it's exactly what we want. If anything, you should be excited. We have wave 5 coming, and this is my point. This is the video that I wanted to make, which is we're in the same scenario that we were after the entire big correction. We got down to 32.80 was my target. We got pretty damn close to hitting it right on the dot. So we got down to 3,200. And we spiked up. BTC itself, right here, ran up for 30%. But that 30%, with all the individual runs and all the individual impulse motive waves within that main wave, we're talking about 100, 200% on a lot of altcoins. So we were absolutely killing it. Then we had to correct. And then wave 3 was amazing. Well, now we're in a position where you only have to wait it out for several days or a week. So if you don't trade for a week, but that means you have more capital to ride wave 5, why do you give a shit, right? At the very least, wave 5 is going to do 30%, if not more. If we do a 1-to-1 extension of wave 1, it's going to give us a 35% or so. So if I end up getting essentially 4, 5, 6, 7 was my original target. So let's just, for now, use that as the bottom of the wave 4 correction right here. So that means we're going to shoot up on wave 5 to 5,600. Then we're going to take another deeper correction. But short term, we're going to have a tremendous opportunity there. I'd also like to point out that for this correction, once we complete our 5th wave, I don't expect to have a huge correction. If you look at what we're seeing here, this is a much quicker correction, not only because of the principle where we had a longer drawn out one on wave 2. Think about what was happening in the market then. At this point, there was still a lot of uncertainty. We weren't ready to just pop off into a bull run. We bounced off the bottom, but then a lot of people were still second-guessing it and doubting whether or not we truly floored after the last year of torture we've had to endure. At this point, we have a lot more confidence. We're seeing money flood back into the market. We're seeing traders get back in and become more active. And we're seeing people who are long-term investors buying back in at these low prices. to get a piece of the pie. So the sentiment right now of when you're considering my model where we factor in TAFA, market psych, and people, you have to look at people and market psychology here. Forget about the charts for a second and just think about what's going on. The number of people that are asking me right now whether or not it's time to get into crypto, friends and family members who were in before and got wrecked or who never got in earlier, those people all want to know if it's time to buy Bitcoin again. They want to get in at the beginning before we go up to 20,000 again. I've told them several times, we're not going to 20,000 this time. We're going to be going to 50 or 70 or 80,000. So it doesn't matter how much money you could put in, just put in something. But we are getting to that point where a lot of people in the general public are getting interested and they're going to start putting money back in, and that's a surefire way to identify when we're on the verge of a bullish market. Could we still have major investors and large holders of BTC start selling off and liquidating and crash the price to an all-time low or to a newer low, a lower low? It's possible. It's just so unlikely at this point. I'm feeling so insanely bullish because my call not only was so precise with my 3,200 bottom, but ever since then my model's been on fire. So I have no reason to second guess it. And right now what my model's telling me is you're going to have to take anywhere from 3 days to 10 days where you're not going to be able to trade much unless we find some really good plays. So in the short term, I am going to watch for these bounces. Like right now we're sitting on, we're in the middle or just starting this B wave, right? So if we're able to continue this up and get into a couple good trades, I'm going to look at some right now. I'm about to go to sleep, but for the next 5 minutes before I do go to sleep, after I finish this video, I'm going to run through my list, and if any of my watch list coins look like we might have a good buy right now, I'll jump in because I think we could probably bounce for a full 12, 18 hours. It's definitely possible. So if we end up getting a little bit of short-term bullish activity, we might be able to make some money on some altcoins. Overall, I wouldn't plan on that. So is it going to be nice when we can get these little bounces and we can get this wave 2 or wave 4 bounce to make some money on altcoins? Sure. But more or less, I'm prepared to have to wait another week before I can really get into any big trades. But once that happens, remember, like once we actually do complete this correction, we're going to be at the start of another impulse wave. You should be very excited. So don't feel discouraged and don't feel like, oh, this sucks, this correction, we can't trade for a week, and if we do, we just keep losing. Stop trading if you're losing. If you're getting stopped out on all your trades, stop getting into trades and save your capital. In fact, whatever money you have that you were planning on putting into crypto, now's the time to put it in. Don't buy your crypto yet. Put it into Tether and be prepared. Because once we bottom out and we start our wave 5, you're going to want to get in that and ride that. Because that's going to be maybe 2 or 3 weeks of just straight up gains. And if you can get into the right plays along the way, oh man, we're going to be rolling in it. And then once we do get into the next correction, that's what I was saying before. We've had these much more bullish movements on the chart with shorter, tighter corrections, smaller corrections. We're not retracing as far, and that's largely because the overall sentiment of the market. So right now, we're looking much better than we did before. There are not a lot of people right now, except for some of the biggest bears out there, who still think we're going to come back down. And for that reason, once we finish this wave 5, I don't think we're going to retrace all that far. We're not going to retrace back to like that 50% fib or something like that. Check this out. I'll show you right now. You can see what the options are. So if we complete this fifth, we could retrace. So at the top of that wave 5, maybe a 236 might be a little small. We might have to take a 382. Now, for those who have watched all of my educational content on Elliott Wave and Fibonacci, one of my favorite models is when you are in a bullish market and a bullish pairing. You're seeing a lot of buying activity and a lot of pressure on the buy side. What happens is when you get to that correction point, you'll get a tighter correction that doesn't retrace quite as far. And in those scenarios, when you're kind of in the middle between the bullish and the bearish and you're not sure which way it's going to go, one of my favorite targets to set is the prior wave 4. So wave 4, wherever that last wave 4 ended on the prior run, that's where I like to set my target for my retracement. If I can identify a fib level that's right there, I usually do that and have a very high level of confidence. So in this setup right here, I'd say the 382 could be an ideal target for a retracement. So if we finish wave 5 up at 56.50 around there, We might retrace down to 4,700. We might go down $800 or something, but much like we're going through now, I would expect that to be a shorter drop. I don't think it would take more than probably 5 to 10 days. And after that correction, we're talking about massive money. We're essentially going to have a redo of this wave 3, except it's going to be even bigger. Because the wave 3 that we're about to get into after this wave 5, when we're going to correct, after that correction, we're going to be in wave 3, which is going to be the most impulsive. So if you were to just accept that for a second, accept that this is the first bounce after we came back from our major correction, right? And what you're waiting on right now, imagine this. So that's all wave 1. We're going to come back down and retrace to the 382 here, right? Right over to there. That's our target. And then what's going to happen? This entire thing is wave 1. And then there's our wave 2. And then our wave 3 is going to take us up to 8630. That's going to be our wave 3 target. And look how it falls right where I have a really strong old support and resistance from way back when, from months and months ago, at 8750. So that wave 3 is going to take us up to at least the high 8,000s, close to 9,000. We're looking at some epic gains. We just need to complete this 5th wave, during which we're going to make a lot of money on altcoins. Then we're going to correct one more time. And after that correction, you guys got to get ready, because we are going to be going to the fucking moon. Over the following 3 or 4 months, we're just going to keep moving up indefinitely. I wouldn't be surprised if we break 10,000 within 4 or 5 months. So we have a lot of exciting movement to look forward to in the market. I think we're going to utterly explode. I think, just to get a rough idea of the timing, I would say for this 100% move to take us back up to 8,600, it's probably going to take 4 or 5 months, I would think. April, May, June. So let's look at it this way. So if we retrace to the 382 and then right up to the 1618, why is that doing that as opposed to giving me... It doesn't give me how many days. That's fucking annoying. 1,300 bars. How many bars are in a day? One day is 8 bars, and it was 1,300. So 1,300 divided by 8, 162 days divided by 30. 5.5 months. So essentially, wave 3 is going to be us going up for 5.5 months, gaining essentially 100%. We're going to be going up from the mid 4s to the high 8s. So we're going to be making a 100% move over a 5-month period. That's what we have to look forward to. All right. My throat's scratchy and I'm tired and still coughing. I'm exhausted. I'm going to sleep. Sorry this took so long to ramble on, but it's exciting, and there were a bunch of things I wanted to mention. So hopefully it was worth your time and it gets you guys excited. This is going to be huge. This is what people were looking forward to when they bought in the beginning of 2017. This is... Their future is now what we have in front of us. Guys, this is no joke, man. This is going to be insane. Bitcoin is going to have a 100% gain by the time we get to the end of June. I'd say the end of May, beginning of June, right around there. I would say, you know what? Yeah, towards the middle of June would be good. That would be a good ending for the Wave 2 correction. Once we get to the middle of the summer, we are going to go into an epic bull run and make 100% on Bitcoin. And when you see Bitcoin go up 100%, what do you think is going to happen to the top altcoins? Guys, we're going to be rolling in the fucking dough. This time next Christmas, we're going to be buying Lambos for sure. All right, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. If I see any good trades, I'll post them in the group.